some questions and then. Hi, welcome to the Amamansin Network. This is the Parenting Forum on Amamansin Network. My name is Nancy, and today my,
Cheesy.
I have Cheesy with me. We are talking about sibling rivalry. Rivalry among siblings in our homes. It's sometimes something that you can't, prevent. It annoys many mothers. There are so many mothers, who, myself included, who wants to find ways around it. So let's try to see what causes it. Are there anything good about sibling rivalry at all? And how we can, if not prevent it, how we can manage it. Okay. Um, Chizzy, I would just like to start. Have you experienced any sibling rivalry among your kids?
Yes, because I don't think there is any observant parent who has not experienced sibling rivalry.
True.
You know, it's not like you plan for it; it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes out of nature, sometimes out of nurture, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes out of external influence also. So yes, I would say I've experienced it also. I've seen it happen, and I have also done some things to prevent or to lessen it, and then we're watching as it goes because it happens per time.
Well, I can't even argue. I remember sibling amongst my mom had four girls and one boy. I experienced sibling rivalry with my sister that is closest to me in age. My younger sister, I never paid any attention to her because she was far too younger than me. And my older sister was also quite too old for me. So she was never, but the one that I was in the closest with, she's my best friend too at the same time, but she's the one that I had most of my disagreements with. And my
Yes.
kids, because there's the difference between us is just 1 year. And I experienced the same thing because my kids have only 2 years difference. And I sometimes when I look at them, it's like I'm looking at my childhood. It's like, it's like I'm looking at me and my sister again, all over again. And then I ask myself, hey, I thought I'm a better mom, like what happened? How did I, because when I was younger, I always, if I am a mom, I would do all of these things perfect. And I see my kids are behaving exactly like my sister and I. So I ended up being my mom all over again. Okay. So sibling rivalry cannot be avoided. Like you said, if you're an observant mom, you observe it. What causes it, in your opinion? Like, what causes it in our families?
Yeah, I can think of it this way. For example, I used three kinds of words to describe how it can come. It can be as a result of nature. Example is if a child, or sorry, because it's rivalry between two or more. So if children grow up in a home where there is a kind of family dynamics, for example, a home, unfortunately, some homes, the parents fight. So
Mm-hmm.
if children grow up in such kind of homes, they are naturally susceptible to have sibling rivalry because they think that that is exactly the way conflict is resolved. They don't know any other thing but to model what they have seen from the parents because our children mirror us per time. So this is one aspect of it. It can also happen as a result of nurture. For example, when we as parents, yes, parents should not favor. Parents should not have some children at heart, maybe some that they love in a higher way than others. But some parents do these things. So when we tend to behave like this, favor one child, it's normal. If you are in an office and some people are favored and some are not favored, it's normal to look down on the other person that is not favored. It's also normal to be jealous of the other person that is favored. So this can be a cause. Another thing can be when we tend to like give specific role or names, like we're tagging our children, for example, oh, she's very good in maths and he's good in sports. What are you trying to do? When you start, this is our maths person in the house, this is our sports person. That sports person might not be doing so well like the maths person, and he or she is going to be a rival to the other one, vice versa. Another example can be external influence, okay? When people outside tend to, oh, yes, people can just bring in this kind of things in the home. When they tend to like a particular child of yours, and they show that and they reflect it, talk about it openly, it can bring rivalry among siblings.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So this is something that can happen from parents from outside, but I like to ask for to concentrate on the parents. Do you think it can happen that parents unconsciously create rivalry without knowing it, unintentionally, like they don't even know that they are causing some kind of rivalry?
Yes, I guess so. You know, one thing I have understood growing up and then as an adult also developing, we as parents, if we are not intentional about our lifestyle, if we are not intentional about our parenting styles, if we are not intentional about the way we raise our children, we can unconsciously, unknowingly bring or be the causative organisms or the causative factors to this sibling rivalry. Yes, it can come from us as parents unknowingly.
Do you also believe, like I stated, between my sister and I, and amongst my children, do you also believe that the gap between two children like plays a role? Like um, in my culture, at least we believe that to be true. If your child is, let's say, 1 year and you quickly have another child, and that first child feels like they've not had enough time with you because they're just 12 months old and now a new baby is here, it tends to create some kind of rivalry. As opposed to a child who is like 10 and then you have another baby between them, 10 years difference, they don't tend to be rivals. I haven't seen that before. I don't know.
Yes, I will also agree with you because I have that with my elder brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, elder brother. He's 3 years older than I am. It's a gap, but it's not so much of a gap. So yes, when the children are close, naturally babies crave attention. Our children desire our attention. And if the child is not mature enough, has not got enough attention, because this rivalry normally starts when the children are below 4 years of age. So
Mm-hmm.
if this attention is not given and those children have not got exactly what they need from the parents, they are prone to become jealous of the other child who is taking part of the attention he should get, notwithstanding that the parents are doing their best to give two of them, but these children have started coming. I won't say they've started coming of age, but they've begun to identify themselves and to know that they are members of the family. So, yes, they think that they should have this kind of attention. And then my mother has a baby somewhere and that is taking my mother or my father away from me. And
Right.
everybody's just all around babies and the siblings, like, what? Why are you not looking at me? And all that. So he or she can go and pinch the baby to cry or take the
Mm-hmm.
baby food or do something so that the attention will be reduced on the baby's side. Not also knowing that when he or she does those things, the attention is increased on that person's side. Because if he pinches the baby, everybody runs to the baby to take care of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of knowledge that the children have. So yes.
Okay. So, what, like you just mentioned, like going to pinch the baby and stuff like that. What are some examples of sibling rivalries that you have seen among kids? It doesn't need to be your own kids. It can be just what you've experienced in general.
If I think some of them could be when two people get results after
Mm-hmm.
the exam and someone does better, the other one does not do better. It's either one hides the result or tears it. Unfortunately, I have heard
Mm-hmm.
of that. Or tears the other person's result so nobody sees what happened or nobody sees the sheets. So, yes, it could also be hiding the siblings' loved objects,
Mm-hmm.
hiding around places, making the sibling suffer, picking the siblings' food,
Mm-hmm.
or making the sibling have a kind of pain, sometimes laughing at the sibling if the sibling is rebuked. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another part that we parents contribute to, because as the children grow older, we should learn to reprimand them or rebuke them if we should in a mature way. It doesn't have to be open. As the children grow older, when we want to instruct or give them correction, sometimes we need to take them aside to protect their confidence, to protect their esteem, and not to
Mm-hmm.
cause this kind of rivalry among the others, because you might want to have a personal discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the kind of things when the other child gets to know what the parents talk to this one about, they use it to taunt them. Sometimes it could be calling them names also, maybe based on the names that they have heard outsiders call them, and this sibling is not happy about it. So when he or
Mm-hmm.
she wants to get back at the sibling, pulls out this kind of thoughts. So yes.
So, in your opinion, is sibling rivalry more common among same-sex siblings or when it's, different sex?
I will really not be able to say that it is common among, how do I put it, that it has a kind of a select sex. But from what I have seen and observed, it's a bit on the same sex. But it still happens even if they are not the same sex. Once they have that age difference,
Mm-hmm.
that rivalry can occur. Yes, it happens.
Once, so okay, so what you're trying to say, once the age is very close together,
Right.
everybody wants, most of the time is the mother's attention that everybody's actually fighting for, because she's normally the primary caregiver. We have Chadelia Brown saying that she definitely agrees. Sorry, I just saw your comment. um so most of the time they're competing for the mother's attention, mother's love, mother's whatever nature, whatever. So I also completely believe that it's the age difference that makes it that matters the most, as opposed to like the sex of the kid, the two kids who are involved in the rivalry. Okay, so now that we know the causes of it, I don't know advantages to sibling rivalry. Is there nothing good that can come out of sibling rivalry?
Okay, okay. We believe that there is always something good that can come out of something, no matter how small it is.
Mhm.
Uh, in this case, rivalry as a word is negative, but sometimes this kind of, as we grow, it becomes a thing of, okay, for I want to succeed, and
Mhm.
this sibling has this level of success. This my sibling has this skill that is giving him or her a kind of a level of success or a level of affluence or something. And then I'm
Mhm.
like, hey, I want to be like this sibling. Yes, when we were growing up, we were not too close or we were having rivalries, but I see that he or she, this aspect of his life is really very good. And we were not so jelly, if I use the word. Sorry, we were not so chummy chummy. We were
Mhm.
being rivals, but this is still good about this, my sibling. I begin to think of wanting to be like that. So there is always a little kind of good that can come out of it in terms of healthy competition. If I would borrow that word, competition,
Mhm.
in terms of healthy competition, yes, that might be what I would say can come out of it in a good way. But most of the time, sibling rivalry is negative.
So I would like to give a scenario, especially when it comes to like same-sex siblings who are sharing a room and they are constantly at each other's neck. How can a parent try to create a more you know, more harmony between the siblings. But I have a comment here for Chadelia. She says, yes, siblings can see it as a challenge. It's true. You can be, like I already said, like my sister, she's the one that I had issues with the most growing up, but she's the one that I look up to the most.
Oh
You
wow.
know,
Yeah.
she's like, I always say she's the most annoying, but I love her to death. You know, so when she goes forward, it pushes me to also go forward. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like a drive, you know, something
Yeah.
that drives you to also keep going forward. Okay, so let's talk about like when kids are sharing room and they tend to, like, you know, be at each other's neck, because that is a very real situation I have right now.
It's interesting. Okay, when they are sharing a room and they tend to be, uh,
Always at each other's neck.
yes, yes. Well, in this case, the parent has a major role to play to help the children. For example, we can begin to teach and explain to these children, our children, or that are sharing the room, um, about living together, learning to live together. We, as the parents, if we are co-parenting in the same house,
Mhm.
yes, so we also have to model living together before them, because if we disagree a lot before those children, it becomes easy for them to disagree in that one room they're sharing. We can also create family time, a
Mhm.
time for the children and the parents to sit together. There is something that is one of the ways to help and prevent or lessen sibling rivalry, learning to eat together, sitting at a table together to eat with undivided attention, not eating with phone or eating with a book or eating with just eating, just sitting to eat and talk. So in that place, if there is sibling rivalry, it will manifest. Because when everybody is quiet and somebody starts speaking on the other, it will be sensed at that place. So
Mhm.
parents also learn to bring everyone together to plan. Maybe plan a fun time. If we have an outing, everyone makes a contribution. So, in that, the children see that each of them has a part to play, a
Mhm.
contribution to make in the home. Because when they are in that room and we're not seeing them, it's what we have been doing outside with them that they will carry into that room. And they will say words that we have said or we have acted out but not said, but our actions have said to the other. And maybe if you get, or if I as the parent get to eavesdrop or they bring up the case, we will know that there was a part we contributed in that. So,
Mhm.
yes, we can help that also. We can also create something like a kind of family meeting time,
Mhm.
where we have a task to handle or where we have maybe a decision to take. And we encourage every child to be part of that decision making process. So, yes, we can contribute, we can help to lessen that rivalry in the closed rooms. Also, a kind of encouraging them to share, because I think what normally happens when two girls are sharing a room,
Mhm.
you
It's
know, you
chaos.
bed, don't sit on my bed, and you make your bed. You scattered my clothes or you did this. So,
Yeah, why did you go into my closet? Why didn't you ask me before opening my closet? And then
uh,
we've also offered to divide the room for them, and they
uh,
said no.
I love that they said no. That's good. They want to be together. They just
But they
need
don't know
to.
how to be together, you know? And what is even funny is sometimes they'll be bickering the whole day, be annoyed with each other, and I will go up there because their rooms are in our attic. And then when you go into the attic, you find that the two of them would, in the evening, you see them like two puppies sleeping on one bed, you know? And this is,
Oh, that's
the
so
standard
cute.
single bed, you know? And then you
Yeah.
find the two of them. cuddling together and sleeping. And then sometimes I look at them and I'm like, so the whole day you were bickering the whole day, and then in the night you just sleep. And when you look at them, they're like two puppies sleeping next to each other, you know. So I don't know.
I love there is a word that there is something you said that I picked that sorry, you said something about them not knowing, thank you, not knowing how to live together.
Together.
So that is what we as parents need to teach the children how to. Yeah, Jeffrey, see you later. Okay. So teach the children how to live together, you know, because these children are growing up, they don't really know this dynamics, they don't know how to resolve conflict. It's left for us as parents to help our children learn how to resolve conflicts. That's what they need to learn, how to discuss, how to argue
Mm-hmm.
in positive ways if necessary, not to be
Exactly.
about it.
Because sometimes I try to explain to them, if you go to college and you have to share a room with somebody else, you know, you have to learn to get along with that person, you know. You cannot
Yeah.
just be bickering with your roommates the whole time you are there. You're going to be miserable because this is
Oh,
probably going to, yeah.
the roommate doesn't know. The roommate will be living a good life. Doesn't know that the other person is feeling somehow. Yes.
Exactly. And then you'll be miserable and you'll be there alone, you know. So you have to learn to get along with other people as well. That is how life is, you know. In this life, you have to learn to get along with each other no matter. For me, sometimes I stay out of it and I don't try to resolve the conflict, and I want them to resolve the conflict by themselves, you know, because I
Yeah, yeah.
think like it's good for them to find conflict resolution by themselves, you know. And another thing that my husband discourages is for them telling on each other, because we are like, that's your sister, you have to defend them, you have to, no matter what, you have to defend your sister, you know. So I think it's just teaching them teamwork, how to interact with other people, and how not to let every single thing that another person does press your button. You know, you have to be a bit tolerant, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's very important. Being tolerant is very, very important.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we know uh, this, how can parents catch it very early? Because I believe if you can catch this happening amongst your children very early, you can start to do some correction before it's too late, you know. How can
Right.
parents, what should they look out for so that they catch it quite early?
Yeah. It's a beautiful question. We as parents, I must say that parents have a lot of work to do in this generation. It's unfortunate that unfortunate in a term, not that it's negative, but it's unfortunate that um, society has evolved and life is not the same way our parents had it. So we as parents need to be observant. We need to be parents that think intentionally, that practice intentional parenting. We need to be parents that have a development mindset. So we need to understand what sibling rivalry is, the kind of competition and jealousy or whatever kind of envious situation as a result of something good going for one child, or ways that a child is preferred, or a lot of things that we've talked about today and we're still talking about. So we as parents need to understand this concept, know what the causes are, and then even the prevention. So what I'm nicely saying is that we have to go for the knowledge first as
Mhm.
parents, and then begin ourselves to practice it. Example, the family dynamics aspect that come as a result of nature. If we as parents cannot resolve conflict, I don't think we can raise children that know how to manage conflicts. So
True.
we need to imbibe whatever that we are learning from the knowledge that we're getting on sibling rivalry, the causes, the prevention, and how to manage it. We need to practice it as parents. Then If we don't do these things, our eyes cannot be open to even observe to know that it's happening. Because if you don't have a knowledge about it, you can't know that it's happening around you. So when you get this knowledge and practice it, then you watch out for things like when a child taunts the other one, or when we're discussing and then one person makes a statement and another laughs. You should watch out for that.
Mhm.
Okay? And find out exactly what kind of laughter, you know. And if we are observant, some of our children, or if not most of the children, tend to push limits with parents. So
Mhm.
some of our children behave in smart ways, and you want to catch the child will say, "Oh no, it was this," but
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
you
Mhm.
so you should know that this person is trying to play smart with you on this, that this is actually rivalry, but he or she is trying to defend it so that you
Mhm.
won't catch. So you
Mhm.
or we as parents have to be very, very consistent in observing these things. I know it's hard work, but I also know that we can do it. You can't be 100% all the time. There are times we make mistakes, there are times we don't see it, there are times it passes us by, but whenever we can, let's be observant to look out for examples of this rivalry in the behavior of our children. And as we observe these things, put a nip it in the bud, nip it in the bud. Don't let it fester, don't let it grow. Nip it in the bud, no matter the level you cut it. Even if you didn't catch it when it was as a seed, nip it in the bud. Yeah.
So, but then what happens? Okay, nipping it in the bud is one of the best ways to handle it. But what happens when you, as a parent, you've done everything that you possibly can, but it's just the personality of the child. The child is, children come out with their own personality. We try our best to, straighten them, show them the path in which that they should take.
Yeah.
But as we understand, children, they are individuals as well. Every child comes out with her or his own personality. What if you just have a child whose personality is very disagreeable, if I may say it? Somebody who is so sensitive to the least thing that another person does, and gets on their nerves and you can't stop it. What should a parent do in that case?
In this case, the child has shown that he or she has this kind of personality. It is left for us as parents to love the child, and keep exposing the child to the knowledge that everyone around you would not love you the same way we're doing in this home. So you're going to go out there and you're going to meet different kinds of people. And
Right.
believe you me, there are people whose, let me borrow a word, madness or craze is higher
Than yours.
than the one this child is exhibiting. So please, if you continue in this manner, if I'm a parent talking to the child, if you continue in this manner, it will become a big problem and your parents will not be there
Right.
that time. So it's best as we talk with them and they go to school and come back and really they experience these things.
Mm-hmm.
They have this, they're going to come back and tell you the story of, I do this one, but this person in my class, no, 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 I
Yeah.
cannot.
Mm-hmm.
He or she does higher one than I,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So that's also a learning experience for us as parents to listen when we catch these opportunities that they start talking about where they noticed someone else's personality is stronger than the one they're exhibiting. Beautiful. You use that moment. So we have to be watchful for those learning moments and help them navigate the period. But even if they tend to now leave the net and they still have not caught it the way we thought, believe you me, life teaches people.
Yeah, it has a way of balancing itself out.
Life will teach over time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I wanted us to talk about something that's a little bit sensitive. This is sibling rivalry in homes where there is a disabled child. This is something that is often overlooked. Or if it's not a disabled child, if you have a terminally ill child at home, you know, and there's sibling rivalry there. How can how do parents make it worse, and how can they make it better?
In that case, I will ask a question. In this case, is the rivalry from the uh, ability challenged person, or
Yeah.
from the
Normally, what I have read and seen is that the sibling rivalry comes from the child who is healthy, because the child who is healthy in this case sometimes feels neglected, because when there is a, either a physically challenged child at home or a mentally challenged child at home, the parents tend to concentrate more on the child who is sick, leaving the child who is able. Maybe they have lots of hospital appointments, lots of therapy, lots of appointments, and their whole day is planned around the sick child. If the healthy child wants to do something, they have to make sure that there's no appointment there for the sick child before they were accepted, and all of this. So it kind of like cripples um, the abled child from living his or her life in full. If mom has to drive you somewhere, we have to make sure it doesn't interfere with this with the time of the other child.
yes,
So it does tend to create some kind of animosity amongst especially if there's only two of them, and there's one is living with a disability or something like that, and the other is not. You know,
yes,
unconsciously the parents create this thing for the child who is for the healthy child. It's a very difficult period for the healthy child, but it's an often neglected or overlooked situation.
yes. I understand from what I have observed from people around and what I have read. I understand that it is naturally demanding to take care of an ability challenged person.
Mhm.
It's normal. So, and it can also be overwhelming for the parents as well as for the other family members in the home. In
Mhm.
this case, we now know that as parents we have a little more to do, because every child in our quiver needs attention, needs love, needs tender love and care. There might be some that need more dose than the other. I think in this case, it depends on the way the parents manage how they take care of the other child. For example, if this child that is not ability challenged is left outside helping the other child, the rivalry will grow. So we involve, get everyone involved in the care. At some point, it makes the other children to be open. It makes them to be more caring. It makes them to understand the situation of the other child that is ability challenged. And then when we need to make sacrifices, they will understand better. And we also need to find ways to increase. For example, if the other child had made a sacrifice, he didn't go for his sport today because everyone had to, there's one car maybe, or everyone had to take this other child for appointment.
Mhm.
Yes. So it means that we can compensate for that time that this other child lost per
Mhm.
se. That is what it's now left for the parents to start, if I will use the word calculating, doing the
Mhm.
mathematics. We
Mhm.
need to do the planning well. so that this child will not feel neglected.
Mhm.
It's something that comes in the home, and for us to, once we know that this is something that has come to stay and we're going to live like this as parents, then we should plan and involve everyone in the home, help everyone to be part of the decisions. And when we need to make these sacrifices, let everyone know that this has to be done. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for that. That is quite a detailed way of explaining it and giving us the advice once you involve the other child. I would also like to add that if you have a disabled child or you know, a child living with some type of disability at home, once in a while, just make a day for your able child, just to spend time with that able child, just a day for the able child, where the day is just about the two of you. And I think this advice goes even for when you have two very able children at home, because I remember something that I used to do that helped a little bit when my kids were one was still in kindergarten and one was in the primary school. I would take the one in kindergarten a little bit earlier out and, spend some time with her, because the kindergarten used to be open. It was open till 5. I'll take her out a little earlier and sometimes I will intentionally leave her there a little bit longer and let the sister come home. We spend like an hour or two together before I tell her, okay, now let's walk and go pick your sister from the kindergarten. In the meantime, it has just been the two of us, spending quality time together. And I realized that it brought down the rivalry when they were much younger. But now that they are they are both in school, it's more difficult. And also they are both entering puberty slowly, so they have all of these hormones controlling them and telling them what to do, and
Yeah.
it's bringing the rivalry back up again. Research says that between 10 and 15, that is when sibling rivalry is at its worst. And now I have kids living with me who are 11 and 13. So we are in the mid of it, right in the middle of it. Yes.
Yes.
They say between 10 and 15, that's where you see it's the strongest. And I have 11 and 13, so I'm right in the middle. I'm right in the middle. Life's Dilemma has something for us. She says that parent constant comparison and favoritism. Most of the time, the parents is not aware of their action. That's true. Most of the
Exactly.
time, you might not be aware of your action. It's just sometimes even your utterances. You don't
Mm.
have to do so much, your utterances, because you can compare one child's personality to the other. It can be something as simple as saying, "Oh, why do you like talking so much?" Something
Mm.
as simple as that,
Why you like talking so
Why do
much?
you like talking so much? Why can't you be quiet like your sister? Or why are you so loud? Can't you see that XYZ is quiet? Something as simple, you just say it out of frustration, but it pierces through a child's heart,
Yeah.
because a child wants to be loved for exactly who. And yeah,
He's
maybe you would like to add something to that.
Yes, it's very important that we avoid as much as we can to compare children, because this rivalry breeds on competition. So
Mm-hmm.
we keep comparing them. Even twins are not the same. There are no two human beings that are the
Mm-hmm.
same. So our children are not the same. They all come with their uniqueness. They all come with their special abilities. Why? Yes, sometimes out of frustration, or maybe out of the way we have learned growing up, or and we did not relearn, we did not unlearn, and
Mm-hmm.
then bring it into the homes and start raising the children the same way. No, that's why I said this period is hard work. Parenting is work. It's not just something that comes that we see ourselves into. We need to be conscious of what we do. So this comparison is it really fuels sibling rivalry, fuels it so much, and favoring one child over another. Sometimes we're not aware of it. It's okay. But if we have this knowledge of the damage this rivalry can make, sometimes it breeds even beyond the parent's existence on earth.
Wow. Yeah.
Sometimes it breeds beyond when you, if you've listened to some of your adult friends, maybe somebody is still telling the hurt the parent did to him or her as a result of rivalry. Not directly, but he was always favoring this my sister or my brother. And then
Hmm.
the person is still, the parents are normal, but the person will not set eye on the other sibling because of things that we as parents were not aware of or we did not manage.
Wow. Wow. What you said right now, it got me thinking that sometimes even the rivalry we had, like the rivalry wounds, I would say, that we had from our own childhood, we can bring it along with us into our own homes without knowing about it. What you just said right now, really something went on like in my brain, even the way you talk about your own siblings, you know the way you feel about your own siblings, the way you talk about your own siblings can subconsciously, find a way to leak into the psyche of your child about the role a sibling plays in their life. So if you are somebody who's all your siblings are witches, then you're putting that into your children's head. If you're
Yeah.
somebody who complains very bitterly, you don't have very good relationship with your own siblings, you cannot expect your child to have a good relationship with their sibling because you have not modeled that for them. You understand? You haven't shown them that a sibling is one of the most important, like what I say to my kids, one of the most important relationships you ever have is with your sibling. I know that we live in this society where everybody is disposable. Everybody wants to have boundaries, and they think humans are disposable. And family is not the person that you have. We see all of these quotes on social media all the time. Family is not the person you have. Family is the one you can create your own, and blah blah blah. But sometimes I'm very traditional in my ideas, and I keep telling my kids, your sibling is one of the most important relationships you will ever have. So as much as possible, you have to try to nurture this relationship with your sister. You have to find a way to get along with them. Because I am very, very afraid, especially when they become teenagers and they all find their own group of friends, and you know
Yes.
they are much further apart. Talking about that, once kids become teenagers, now they start to compete even more. When they're in kindergarten, they compete for the toys. When they start getting older, then they start to compete for grades, they compete for sports, they compete for friends.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my friend. I don't want them to be friends with you, and blah, blah, blah. I have one scenario here that a parent told me about that she has two boys in the same school. The
Mhm.
older one has told the younger one that they are only brothers at home. When they go to school and they see each other, they should pass each other.
Oh my God.
It's like, when you see me in school, don't talk to me, don't come near me and my friends, nothing. I don't know you. We are only siblings at home. What is that? Is that just anger, hatred, or simple sibling rivalry?
Okay, it's a blend of something. It's a level of sibling rivalry. It's also like, obviously, the person that is saying this is the older one.
The older one doesn't want the younger one to come around him in school.
So the older one is like, is trying to let the younger one know that, oh no, you're not, we're not age mates.
Mm-hmm.
So it's rivalry, a blend of rivalry and a blend of identity. You
Mm-hmm.
know, age mates. So please don't come and disturb my discussion in the when we get home, we continue. But that's also for the parents who had this to understand from the older boy's perspective why he thinks like that. It's subject to discussion. It shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be put under the carpet because it can breed anything. It can be something rivalry, it can be something else. So it's for the parent to Find out why the older brother thinks like this. Is it because maybe in the home, with maybe he was given so much attention, and
Mm-hmm.
then feels that yes, he can take some kind of decisions to affect the younger one. It
Mm-hmm.
could be also that he's trying to belong with his friends. So he's
Mm-hmm.
trying to have his new identity, and he does not want any other person to compete for that attention.
Mm-hmm.
So there are other, it's not just sibling rivalry, it's for the parents to understand why that is happening and then help. The younger one doesn't have an issue here because he too doesn't even know what's going on. It
Mm-hmm.
might
Mm-hmm.
be the older person that knows why he's thinking like that. So it might not be sibling rivalry, it might be that he's trying to have image
Have an
and
image, create an image for himself, you know.
to concentrate and focus because
Mm-hmm.
it's serious to him. So this
Mm-hmm.
will help parent to understand if he's having an esteem problem, a confidence problem, or a sibling rivalry problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
We won't just nail it to a particular thing here.
Yeah, right. Because especially if the older one had an identity before the younger one also came to the school.
Mhm.
And maybe at home I play childish games with you and everything, I entertain you. And now maybe you even have a nickname for me at home that nobody knows this nickname in the school. And then you're coming to the school and be following me around and calling me that name. And then my friends are also going to know that. And especially when children are around the age of 15, they want to be the cool person. They don't want their friends to think they are not so cool.
Mhm.
And for that reason, they will try to, push you away, stay in your lane, and don't come here and let me lose my vibe, because I'm trying to. Anyway, so if you are joining us, we are talking about sibling rivalries. We've talked about the causes of it. We've heard that it can be caused by nature, sometimes consciously or unconsciously by parents, depending on how we model living with other people to our kids. We have talked about how clash of personalities can also lead to that. Somebody asked a question about strong-willed children.
Okay.
Strong-willed children. What do you do with strong-willed children? Because we have to be careful. We don't want to kill this strong will. We want to maintain it because being strong-willed is a personality trait that is very, very important when you grow up and you enter into business.
Yes,
You know, how do you deal with such a child?
it's a very interesting one. When it comes to strong will is not equal to rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Strong will is just a person's personality.
Mm-hmm.
Now need to help the other ones that are not strong willed to know that this person has this personality that is strong. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that he or she is causing trouble. Then, if the strong willed person also tends to mismanage the other siblings in their relationship or in their play or in whatever thing they are doing together, then that's also a problem that we need to help the strong willed person to know that that I am strong willed does not mean that I should handle other people's emotions in a wrong manner. So, with this, the strong willed person understands that his will is not the problem here, but it is how he handles people. It doesn't mean that he's being bickering or he's trying to be the one that is causing rivalry. This should be checked for the parents. Strong-willed people, we as parents should please, because I know that a lot of us from our background tend to see strong-will as something that is not good. It is really a good trait for entrepreneurship, for
Mm-hmm.
leadership, but we just need to help this person develop to use the will where it is meant to be used, and also to watch the other people's emotions, the other people's responses to his actions. So I don't think I would, because I don't think strong will is tantamount to sibling rivalry.
Okay.
And we just need to watch the traits that the strong
Mm-hmm.
person is reflecting. If the person is reflecting the traits of rivalry, then we can say that there is rivalry coming from the strong-willed person.
And stepping in and trying to correct it as early as
That's possible.
possible.
Yes.
Okay, all right, Chizzy. If you'd like to add anything, that would be great. I would like to sign off for now. If you joined us, thank you for joining us. This has been Chizzy and Nancy on Amamansi Network discussing sibling rivalry. This is the Parents Forum. We are here every Wednesday at 1900 Central European Time. You can join us with your questions, your comments, your suggestions. We are all here to learn from each other about how to raise kids. And we talk about problems concerning the raising of kids and how to deal with them. We would like to hear from you um, during the next episode. Thank you, Chizzy. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you. And you
Bye
too,
bye.
Nancy. Thank you.